is it not going? This is ridiculous. Ah, okay. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to our weekly review of how religion impacts humanity. This week's headlines. The Taliban, Afghanistan again, announced new rules for female students. Afghan women's social media protest against Taliban. The Pope is puzzled about vaccine hesitancy in the church. UK schools mustn't replace worship with secular assemblies, insists a UK minister. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says people need better parenting and to restore God in our communities to reduce crime. The US Taliban, yes, they have their own, tried to crack down on revealing swimsuits at the beach. A survey finds only 9% of self-identified Christians hold to a biblical worldview. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster has issued a certificate of religious exemption against being exposed to the unvaccinated. Christian hate preacher Greg Locke is banned from Twitter. And the draft of a new family code for Cuba was released on Wednesday. It proposes allowing same-sex couples to marry. Okay. Afghan universities will be segregated by gender, and a new dress code will be introduced, the Taliban has said. Higher Education Minister Abdul Baqi Haqqani indicated that women would be allowed to study, but not alongside men. He also announced a review of the subjects that students would be taught. Women and girls were banned from schools and universities under the Taliban rule between 1996 and 2001, and the present Taliban have said they will not prevent women from being educated or having jobs. But since they seized control on the 15th of August, they have asked all women, except those in the public health sector, to stay away from work until the security situation improves. This policy marks a significant change from the accepted practice before the Taliban took over. Female students did not have to abide by a dress code, and universities were co-educational, with men and women studying side by side. But Mr. Haqqani was unapologetic about that change. "We have no problems in ending the mixed education system," he said. "The people are Muslim, and they will accept it." Some have suggested that the new rules will exclude women from education because the universities do not have the resources to provide separate classes. However, Mr. Haqqani insisted there are enough female teachers and that where they are not available, alternatives will be found. "It all depends on the university's capacity," he said. "We can also use male teachers to teach from behind a curtain or use technology." After street demonstrations across major cities in Afghanistan, women have now taken to social media to protest against the Taliban's hardline policies towards them. See this video on the protests.
This is the biggest challenge to the Taliban's authority that we've seen so far, and it's not coming from a militia force. It's coming from peaceful protesters, from both women and men. محاسبة آزادی بیان دموکراسی مقاومت ملی. Are you afraid? نه ما از مرگ نمیترسیم. ما نسل نامیراثیم. ما آزادی را شکوفا میسازیم. آزادی امنیت حق مسلم But Pakistan says the Taliban are Afghan. It's got nothing to do with it. من قبول دارم که اینا میگن که افغان هستن، اما در پشت افغانای ما این مردم پل شدن. ذهنیت این مردم اینا تغییر میدن.
An online campaign has seen Afghan women around the world share photos of themselves wearing traditional colourful clothes, using the hashtag "Do Not Touch My Clothes." Since the Taliban took the capital Kabul, it has set up an all-male interim government with just a handful of Tajik and Uzbek representatives and no member of the ethnic Hazara minority. The Pope. He said he doesn't know how to explain why some cardinals in the Catholic Church are hesitant to get the COVID-19 jab. It's a bit strange because humanity has a history of friendship with vaccines, Francis told reporters during a flight from Slovakia to Italy. The pontiff, who is vaccinated himself, has previously encouraged people to get jabbed for the common good. He said one cardinal had ended up in intensive care with COVID-19. That's conservative US Cardinal Raymond Burke, 73, who spent days on a ventilator in hospital after contracting the virus. It is unclear whether Cardinal Burke is vaccinated or not, but in the past he has been critical of vaccination. Even in the College of Cardinals, there are some vaccine negationists, the Pope told reporters aboard the papal plane. But one of them, poor thing, has been hospitalized with the virus. These are the ironies of life. He added that almost everyone at the Vatican was now vaccinated and that they were studying how to help those who were hesitant. A UK government minister has said schools are not permitted to replace their legal duty to provide religious worship with non-religious assemblies, leading to criticism from the National Secular Society. In a letter to the National Secular Society, Education Minister Elizabeth Berridge said it was not permissible for a school to apply simply to replace Christian or other religious collective worship with a non-religious assembly. The letter also said that if the government was made aware that schools weren't meeting the duty to hold worship, it would deal with it on a case-by-case basis. Schools in England and Wales are legally required to hold daily acts of collective worship which are wholly or mainly of a Christian character. That's the law. And the most recent government guidance on collective worship, issued in 1994, says worship in schools should be concerned with reverence or veneration paid to a divine being or power. Many schools currently ignore the law, and this has long been de facto accepted by both the Department for Education and Ofsted. National Secular Society Head of Education Alastair Litchin said, "It's preposterous for the Department for Education to insist schools must incorporate religious worship into their assemblies. Its attempts to do so illustrate the need for legal change. Laws requiring worship in schools should be repealed and replaced with a duty to hold inclusive assemblies. In many schools, this hopelessly anachronistic obligation simply can't be enforced, even if ministers try to pretend that isn't the case. Where it is enforced, it undermines children's freedom to form their own beliefs and is discriminatory. No child should be compelled to worship in school, and no school should be compelled to hold acts of worship, like in France. Liberal Democrat peer Lorelei Burt recently proposed a private members' bill, which would repeal the requirement for schools in England without a designated religious character to provide daily acts of collective religious worship. This bill is due to be given a second reading in the House of Lords next month. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said on Monday that better parenting and religion playing a bigger role in society can help reduce crime. We need better parenting, greater parental involvement. We need to restore God in our communities, Abbott said. If we do that, we will be able to reduce crime in this region. The governor delivered the remarks during a bill signing for Texas's new bail reform law. Under the new law, defendants accused of violent crimes or anyone arrested on a felony charge already out on bond in a violent case will be limited to using cash bail. Republicans named the bill after Damon Allen, a Texas state trooper who was shot and killed during a traffic stop by a man who was released on cashless bond. As a practicing Roman Catholic, Greg Abbott often cites faith to support controversial policies such as the recent Texas abortion law, which is being challenged by the Department of Justice in a lawsuit. The USA has its own version of the Taliban. Here is a man on the beach complaining to sunbathers about their dress.
Okay, so then why do you dress this way?
I'm fat and I like women, so please leave us alone.
Well,
Kindly.
Take young.
I'm at the beach in my bathing suit.
Yeah, that's a thong and that's a bra.
Why is it stopped?
Okay, so then why do you dress this way?
I'm fat and I like women, so please leave us alone.
Well,
Kindly.
Take young.
I'm at the beach in my bathing suit.
Yeah, that's a thong and that's a bra.
Guys, a fucking bathing suit.
Take young guys into consideration. They don't need to see pornography, right?
We're not coming up to you, bothering you. Please go
You're
away.
flaunting your stuff.
I'm not flaunting anything. Don't look at me.
You look around and you're the only thing that sticks out because your whole body.
Okay, well, why are you looking at me? Close your eyes. What did you say? Gouge your eyes out if I fucking bother you. You talk to me?
Here's the thing.
Go away.
You did, but here's the thing. There's
Okay.
free will in America. There's
No,
freedom of
bro,
speech.
you get the fuck away.
And if men of God don't stand up, then our society's gonna go down the drain because there's no.
I'm atheist, sorry.
Okay, that's if you're an atheist, that doesn't mean you have to, show your body off. You can still put clothes on.
Oh, I can't with you.
Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Embarrassing. I can't.
I'm speaking truth. Your body will never ever satisfy.
Please.
The physical never ever satisfy. There's a longing in each of your hearts to actually be seen. The reason why you're showing your body because you're like, am I pretty enough?
Please fuck off.
We're definitely pretty enough.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Yes, please leave us
This
alone.
next time you come to the beach and there's young eyes, take that into consideration.
What are you talking about? I can't, Shirley, you're not saying shit to them. What are you fucking talking?
You're gonna go follow that man now?
Yeah, go.
Move along.
That's a lot different.
How is that different? Because he has a fucking dick?
This
Is that why?
Go down the drain because there's no.
Today, 176 million Americans claim to be Christians. That's 69% of the population. Yet, only 6% of US adults which is 9% of those identifying as Christians, possess a biblical worldview, believing the Bible to be accurate and reliable, among other convictions. That's according to a new study by researcher George Barna and the Cultural Research Center at Arizona Christian University in Glendale, Arizona. The study asserts that every person has a worldview, defined as an intellectual, emotional, and spiritual decision-making filter. And though many Americans believe they have a biblical worldview, very few do. 2 out of 3 Americans think of themselves as a Christian, and the majority still think that Christianity is kind of about the Bible, Barna said in an interview. But there's a big gap between what self-identified Christians believes the Bible may teach and what the Bible actually teaches. While the latest figures may be shocking to some observers, they're similar to Barna's findings in 2003. That survey found that 4% of US adults possess a biblical worldview, including 9% of born-again Christians. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster has issued a certificate of religious exemption against being exposed to the unvaccinated. Look at this. You can get that to protect yourselves from those who don't have a vaccine. And Greg Locke, evangelical preacher of some fame on Twitter, has been banned from Twitter, and he doesn't like it. See this.
Hey guys, Pastor Greg Locke here. I want you to share this video. As you can see, the title demonstrates. Hey guys, Pastor Greg Locke here. I want you to share this video. As you can see, the title demonstrates the fact that I was just finally permanently banned today from Twitter. They've given me 30 days. They've given me 10 days. They've given me 3 days or 24 hours through the years. I've been on Twitter since 2009. It's the most difficult platform to build. And finally, after we got up to almost 114,000 followers, now granted, after January the 6th, they took away about 20,000 followers. But finally, after building it up, having a verified platform on Twitter, they take the whole thing away. After years, since 2009, because I'm a danger. Guess who's still on Twitter? The Taliban. Ladies and gentlemen, are you awake yet, sheep? Wake up. Use your brain, use your Bible, get a backbone. They just permanently banned me. I'm the first pastor with any sort of a platform that's been banned. So guess what? We're fighting back right now. Within 1 hour of it happening, we've already had our wonderful lawyer for our ministry file, and we have just entered into the class action lawsuit against Twitter and all of these censorship Nazis. We just entered in with Candace Owens and Donald Trump and others. Can you believe it? They banned a pastor. They banned a pastor with a verified public blue check mark platform on Twitter because I'm a danger. Oh no, it's because they just want to be where they censor us. We're over the target. We're dropping bombs, gospel bombs, political bombs, biblical bombs. They don't like what we're saying. I was just permanently deleted on Twitter. My account's not even there anymore. It's unbelievably ridiculous. So yeah, we're going to sue them. We're fighting back. We're jumping into the lawsuit because this is America, ladies and gentlemen. When are you going to wake up? When are you going to get your head out of the sand and recognize that they're trying to take away every right that we have? And the problem is we keep complying. Stop with all the compliance nonsense. It's unbelievably asinine at this point. They just permanently deleted my Twitter account. Now, I want you to go to Telegram. It's at Pastor Locke. It's verified. I want you to go to Getter. It's at Pastor.
There's one cross-pastor. Havana. The draft of a new family code for Cuba, released on Wednesday, proposes allowing same-sex couples to marry and to adopt, as well as giving children greater participation in decisions that affect them. The preliminary draft, which must be approved by Cuba's parliament, then go to a grassroots plebiscite, comes almost 3 years after the island's communist government backed away from enshrining gay marriage protections in its new constitution in the face of opposition. Evangelical groups objected to the constitutional proposal to eliminate the description of marriage as a union of man and a woman and change it to the union of two people with absolutely equal rights and obligations. We consider this version to be consistent with the constitutional text and to develop and update the various legal family institutions in correspondence with the humanistic nature of our social process, Justice Minister Oscar Silveira Martinez said in announcing the draft. Evangelical groups, however, are expected to object to the change in the Family Code draft. My guest on Free Thought Hour this week trades by the name of Beyond Belief. That's his Twitter handle. Logan will give us an insight into his atheist activism. This is a live Q&A show, so stay tuned on this channel and ask some questions. It will be starting in a few minutes. We will be back with our weekly news review on all our platforms at the same time next week. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, set the notifications, etc. Thank you for watching.